Close your eyes and picture a monster. Chances are you're visualizing a creature caught between two worlds. A human body suddenly erupting in thick hair, claws elongating, jaws snapping open to reveal razor-sharp fangs. The werewolf. It's a staple of modern horror. We all know the rules, right? You get bitten by a beast, you miraculously survive, and every time the full moon hits, you lose your mind, transform, and hunt. The only way out of the nightmare is a silver bullet. But here's the twist. Almost everything you just pictured, it's completely made up. It's a modern invention of 20th century Hollywood cinema. If you travel back into actual history, the real folklore of the werewolf is far more terrifying, bizarre, and deeply rooted in human trauma than any movie could ever capture. We aren't talking about a tragic medical curse passed through a bite. We're talking about divine wrath, dark magic, and real-world historical panics that left hundreds of people dead. Today, we're peeling back the Hollywood fur, from the ancient deserts of Mesopotamia to the bloody trials of Renaissance Europe, all the way to a mysterious beast that brought 18th century France to its knees. Today, we explore the terrifying evolution of the lycanthrope. To find the very first mention of a human turning into a wolf, we have to look back over 4,000 years ago to the ancient Middle East, specifically to the Epic of Gilgamesh. In this ancient text, the goddess Ishtar tries to romance the hero Gilgamesh. He flatly rejects her, hitting her with a list of all her past lovers whom she ultimately ruined. One of them was a simple shepherd. Ishtar grew tired of him, struck him with her staff, and turned him into a wild wolf. The tragic twist? His own herding dogs chased him down and tore him to pieces. Notice something important here. No bite, no full moon. This was pure, vindictive, divine power. And that theme carries right over to the Greeks and Romans. This is where we get our modern word lycanthropy, from the famous story of King Lycaon of Arcadia. As the myth goes, Lycaon wanted to test if the god Zeus was truly all-knowing. He invited Zeus to a grand dinner, but instead of standard fare, Lycaon murdered a hostage child, cooked up the human flesh, and served it to the king of the gods. Needless to say, you cannot trick Zeus. Enraged by this act of cannibalism, Zeus smashed the palace with a thunderbolt and cursed Lycaon. He forced the king to look on the outside like the predatory savage beast he was on the inside. Lycaon fled into the woods, his clothes turning to fur, his arms turning to front legs. He became the world's first true werewolf. Around that same time, historians like Herodotus were documenting entire tribes of alleged werewolves. He wrote about a nomadic people called the Nuri. Supposedly, every member of the tribe turned into a wolf for just a few days out of the year before reverting back to human form. Modern anthropologists think Herodotus was probably just witnessing early shamanic rituals, people wearing wolfskins and taking hallucinogenic plants. But to the ancient world, the boundary between human and animal was terrifyingly thin. As Europe shifted out of antiquity and into the Middle Ages, the werewolf evolved. It stopped being a punishment from pagan gods and became an active weapon of the devil. By the 15th and 16th centuries, Europe was gripped by fear. We always hear about the witch trials, but people don't realize there was a massive parallel wave of werewolf trials. Hundreds of people were executed for lycanthropy, and unlike witches, who were often falsely accused out of petty village disputes, some of these werewolf defendants were actual genuine monsters. Take the case of Peter Stump, the werewolf of Bedburg, in 1589. Stump was a wealthy German farmer who, under severe torture, confessed to practicing black magic. He claimed the devil gave him a magical wolfskin girdle. When he tied it around his waist, he transformed into a massive, bloodthirsty wolf, with eyes that sparked like fire. He didn't just target livestock. Stump confessed to murdering and consuming 14 children, including his own son, and 2 pregnant women over a 20-year period. Whether he was a real-world serial killer experiencing severe psychological delusions or a victim of a massive political conspiracy, the authorities didn't care. He was executed in one of the most brutal public displays in European history. But werewolves didn't just exist in rural villages. Sometimes they marched right into the capital. In the winter of 1439, Paris was a nightmare. The 100 Years' War was raging, and the city was starving and freezing. Because of the sheer volume of unburied bodies outside the gates, wild wolf packs grew bold enough to breach the city walls. Leading them was a legendary, massive beast with a missing tail. The terrified Parisians named him Corteau, which translates to short tail. Cortot and his pack slaughtered over 40 people inside the city streets. The public was utterly convinced Cortot wasn't a mere animal. He was a demon shapeshifter sent to punish them. The panic only ended when citizens finally corralled the pack into the heart of Paris, trapping Cortot on the cold stone steps of Notre Dame Cathedral, where they stoned him to death. If Cortot was a local panic, our next case was a full-blown national crisis. Welcome to the former province of Gévaudan, France, 1764. For 3 long years, a nightmare stalked the French countryside, something known simply as la bête, the beast of Gévaudan. This wasn't your average wolf. This was a single, massive creature. Witnesses described it as being the size of a calf, with reddish fur, a black stripe running down its spine, and a jaw wide enough to crush a human skull. And its behavior was deeply unsettling. Normal wolves avoid humans if they can, but the beast of Gévaudan actively bypassed cattle and sheep to hunt people. Even worse, it didn't just bite, it often decapitated its victims. Over 3 years, it launched more than 210 attacks, leaving nearly 100 people dead. The hysteria got so out of hand that King Louis XV himself deployed elite royal hunters and even sent his own personal gunpowder bearer to kill it. They shot a massive wolf in 1765, brought it to the royal court, got their reward, and then a week later, the killings in Gévaudan started right back up. The nightmare finally ended in June 1767, when a local hunter named Jean Chastel took matters into his own hands. According to legend, he loaded his musket with a bullet forged from a blessed silver medal of the Virgin Mary. He sat in the woods, tracked the beast, and shot it dead. When they opened the stomach of Chastel's beast, they found human remains. The killing stopped instantly. So, what was it? Modern zoologists have thrown around a lot of theories. An escaped exotic animal like a striped hyena? A massive wolf-dog hybrid? Or maybe, just maybe, it was an animal trained by a human serial killer to hunt people. We will never truly know. But Chastel's silver bullet, that single detail altered folklore forever. As the world entered the 19th and 20th centuries, the Age of Enlightenment cleared away superstition, and science began to investigate why people believed in werewolves. Medically, we now look back at these historic werewolves through a few specific lenses. First, there's rabies. A rabies outbreak causes animals and humans to become hyper-aggressive, foam at the mouth, and exhibit terrifying physical changes before death. Then there's hypertrichosis, a rare genetic condition that causes thick hair to grow over someone's entire body, including their face. In an uneducated medieval village, a person with this condition was easily branded a monster. And finally, there's a genuine mental illness called clinical lycanthropy. It's a psychiatric delusion where a patient truly believes they are transforming into an animal. They will howl, crawl on all fours, and feel an intense craving for raw meat. So the history is grounded in real tragedy, real disease, and real predators. But how do we get from these dark realities to the creature we see on Halloween decorations today? You can thank one man, Kurt Siodmak. He was the screenwriter for the 1941 Universal Studios masterpiece, The Wolfman, starring Lon Chaney Jr. Siodmak basically rewrote centuries of folklore in a single script. Before his movie, there was no rule saying a werewolf bite was contagious, and there was no ancient lore tying them explicitly to the full moon. Siodmak invented those rules because they made for a better tragic cinematic curse. It's fascinating, isn't it? The werewolf started as a manifestation of divine punishment, turned into a symbol of satanic panic, became a real-world cryptid in the forests of France, and finally wound up as a Hollywood archetype. But at its core, the myth has never really changed. The reason the werewolf still frightens us after 4,000 years is because it represents the ultimate human fear, losing control. It's the terrifying reminder that beneath our clothes, our laws, and our civilization, there is a primal beast waiting to claw its way out. Next time you look up at a bright, clear, full moon, listen closely to the wind. You never know what's howling back. Thanks for listening to Degree of Interest. Stay safe out there, and whatever you do, stay on the path. If you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with a friend. It helps us continue to bring you these kinds of videos. Thanks so much.